with that, I would like to bring up our next speaker. We are really, really fortunate to have VMware be our platinum sponsor this year. And one of the things that VMware has been doing is talking about some interesting technologies that affect both IT and users in a variety of different ways. And this year, we wanted to hear a little bit more about how does this apply to real people in real ways? How does this make for a better experience across the board? And it's really neat because Kristina, who's our next speaker, is a product line manager for VMware, and she knows a whole lot about things from the IT point of view, but she has a particular interest in how IT can make things better for users overall. She has been at VMware for about 7 years. She's worked on a variety of different product lines out there, probably more than I can remember off the top of my head out here. But Kristina has a wealth of knowledge about what this kind of experience is like and what IT can do to make that experience better for employees. And so what we've asked her to talk about is re-imaging the employee experiencing, and reimagining the employee experience. Reimagining the employee, so just like that, does that work? Okay, reimagining the employee experiences. How about a warm welcome for Kristina De Nike?
Thank you.
Left and right, you should be.
Thank you. So I know I'm between you guys and lunch. I feel like I need to, now that I have some good advice on storytelling, I need to go back and change my presentation. I'm going to work on my diction. I'm going to be modest. I'm an artist, and it's okay to fail big. That's what I'm gonna focus on. Okay, so I have been at VMware for 7 years. I actually was at Mac User and Macworld before that. I was lab director. So I've been working on the Mac for a long time. I had my hand up till 25 years. That was me. And just to get a read on the room, how many of you guys have used Fusion before? Yeah. All right. How many of you guys are familiar with our VDI product, Horizon? Ooh. Okay, and then how many of you have thought about VMware in terms of endpoint management and our intelligent hub? Just a little smattering. And I know there were a couple of you guys came over and talked to us at the table. So, so this is sort of a new topic for you guys, the idea that VMware is something you can use to manage your devices. Since VMware and end user computing, we talked to a lot of customers, we talked to a lot of IT professionals, and we were seeing some shifts in the market, and we went ahead and we did some investments to pay for some research papers to really kind of quantify what we were already seeing in terms of how IT was looking at their jobs and how they wanted to partner with us, what they were looking at for us. So we did these with external firms. We did not go to our customers. They went ahead and sourced the people that filled out the surveys. They were not specifically VMware customers. We did one 2.5 years ago that we talked to about 2,000 people. That was CIOs all the way down to frontline workers. And then we had a follow-up because there were some things in the first one that was really interesting, and we wanted more information on it. This latest one we did over 6,000 employees, and this was internationally. It wasn't just in the US. So we're going to go over some of the data, both from the first one and then the follow-up questions that then led to the second one. As we were looking at this, we started slicing the companies that we were talking to into different categories. So we had what we were calling, where they didn't do a lot of, they had maybe a couple apps, but really it was an on-premise kind of static kind of place. And then transitional, and that's where most companies fell, where they have some line of business apps, they have, but they don't have a whole vision of how their end users are going to get to apps. They don't have a method of easily adding apps. They don't have nearly as much flexibility. And then the last one, where they had really invested in something that was like a workspace. So this was going to work cross-platform. It was going to give you mobility. It's going to give you the apps that you need. And just a comment about the middle one. The middle one, your employees are going to do it anyway. They're going to go out and they're going to find their own apps. They're going to start putting things on Google Drive. They're going to start sharing things. They're going to be on Dropbox. They're going to be on Google Documents. I mean, if you're not thinking about the whole experience, your employees will do it anyway. That's good and bad. Oh no, where did I go? I double-clicked. One back. Okay, once. So, unsurprisingly, we found that companies that had really invested in creating a workspace and were really thinking about what they wanted their employee experience to be, they had a bunch of benefits. And we were expecting this. So there was better efficiency, there was an increase in service quality, HR was getting a boost in terms of getting people onboarded, and the CEOs believed that it was going to add to the bottom line. We don't have any data that it did, but all the CEOs thought that. So good for us. Why is it doing that? Okay, and the employees were also reporting some advantages. They felt like they were more productive. An important part of this was flexibility. They were able to, they encouraged other people to come work at their company. They reported that they worked at a great place. And they said that they were more efficient in making decisions. So this crowd will care about this. An important part of this workspace, that whether it's VMware's or someone else's, is having flexibility. And so we were able to say that in companies where people said that it was a great place to work, there was a strong correlation with being able to pick whether you want to be on a Mac or a PC. On places where not as many people said that they liked working there, the correlation then dropped. That's good news. And also in companies where people enjoyed working, they were more likely to be able to pick. Oh, I'm sorry, the other slide was really about, all right, we'll just keep going. And there was a feeling that having really great technology enabled you to recruit and keep better talent. And this data actually wasn't ours. This data is all over the place, that people who have flexible schedules, who can take time off, who can work from home, that there's a huge benefit. Top talent wants it. It makes life better for everyone. Again, CIOs really felt like, and this actually is not ours either, this is a Gallup study, that there was an increase in revenue and that people were more engaged and that made them stay longer. Oh, okay, we'll go back. How many CIOs are in the room? Okay, good. That's good. Because one of the things we found was that there was a basic disconnect between what CIOs thought and what all the employees thought. The CIOs thought that they were more likely to say that they were tech leaders. And the employees were more likely to say that their company was a tech follower. And that translated into a bunch of other data. IT thinks that what's most important is how fast they put out technology. And employees think what's most important is whether or not the technology is working. It's a basic misalignment, and this is what we really dug in on the next survey that we did. So I love these. These are all over the place. 65% of IT thinks that the employees have exactly what they need. 42% of the employees think they have what they need. 91% of ITs thinks that the employees have nothing to worry about in terms of their end user data. It's totally safe, there's nothing to worry about. 44% of the employees say, I don't trust my company. Isn't this great? 83% thought that the employees had a real say in what happened in the company in terms of rolling things out. And 64% of the users felt like they had no voice. So we're seeing this huge disconnect. And then we asked, who do you think should be in charge of making these kinds of decisions? And the IT decision makers said, I think IT should be in charge of it. And HR said, I think HR should be in charge of it. And the employees said, I think it's the CEO's fault. They went all the way up to the top. So this really points to an opportunity. Because when we asked, 89% of the respondents said that IT and HR could be working better together. And it's a difference between, if you're going for a second opinion and you go to a surgeon, the surgeon always says you need surgery. Isn't that true? If you go to an IT professional and you present a problem, they want to give you a technical solution, as opposed to stepping back a little bit and looking at the employee experience more holistically. So that's become our focus. How do we create a better employee experience? And how do we make sure that the right people are at the table? And one of our big pushes is going to be that we're going to be working with HR. It's going to change our sales cycle. It's probably going to make it longer, but we think it's an important thing to really enriching an entire employee experience. So what is the employee experience? And this is not, again, from us. This is actually from a book by Jacob Morgan, and it's roughly broken down as 30% physical environment. Your desk, this conference rooms, whether or not you are in a really noisy area. 40% cultural environment. We all know that it doesn't really matter what else is going on. If the culture is not what you need it to be, you're miserable. And then 30% technical. But these things all sort of bleed in together. You can have cultural things that are actually technical things. You can have physical things that are actually cultural things. They can all sort of feed in together. Oh, I'm almost out of time. Oh. Do I need that other slide now that I'm out of time? Let's go back. Okay, so when you talk to HR, what do they care about? They want to win the top talent. They want to increase employee retention. That's really a big goal for them, which lines up with employee experience. They want to make sure that they're building the company for a competitive environment and that they're getting to that bottom line. They're doing all these other things to begin with, but everyone wants to get to the bottom line. And this chart is really hard to read, but basically it's saying, how much did you invest the last 12 months? How much are you going to invest in the next 12 months? And across the board, every division, IT, HR, everybody thinks that we should be investing more in employee experience. There's some problems with employee experience. It's hard to onboard. It's hard to get people productive right away. They don't feel super valued if it takes a long time to get them onboarded. Okay, we'll just build this. Basically, the point with this is that every platform wants to be the main platform. And they're going in and they're adding their own silos. So you have, each one of these has their own way of managing the devices. They have their own, stop that. They have their own OS. They have their own OS, they have their own app stores. They have their own cloud services. It's very hard to have a great experience where you have a lot of flexibility and you let users do whatever they want to when you also have these silos that the OS manufacturers are creating. We'll just build that one again. This is fun, isn't it? Are you guys getting hungry? All right, so I'll build this one too. So this is our vision. Our vision, VMware Vision, with our Workspace ONE Intelligent Hub, is that we're going to take employees all the way from day one when they're interviewing and they've just gotten the offer. Day zero. Day one, they walk in the door, they get what they need. Day two, as you get new apps, you get updates, all of that's managed. And then offboarding. As you're leaving, if it's your BYOD device, we're only doing an enterprise wipe. Otherwise, we're taking the device back, re-imaging it, handing it to the next person. That's what we want to do. And why this is resonating with people when we talk to, let's say you have a 30K employee company, and if you can figure out how to get from the average of 30 down to 15%, and assuming that it's around $4,000 per person to onboard, you will be saving $6 million with better onboarding. We'll watch a little demo. We won't watch the demo. This is a video, and it's showing how, as a user comes online, she doesn't have an account yet, but we're able to securely send a offer letter, get her set up. She can say what she wants. She walks in the door. She's got single sign-on. She's got her apps. She's got a choice of platforms. And then as you get to the endpoint, the admin can decide whether or not they're going to reset the device or whether it's a BYOD device and it's just going to erase the container. All right, and that's basically the end of the presentation. So we're focused on employee experience. We think it's critical for long-term sense. We want to help win the talent, and we're going to provide one platform to get through those silos and to help you manage your whole infrastructure. Yay.